What's up, folks? Sean the Average Angler coming at you with another great video, and we're getting back to learning. And I've got a little bit of a motto. It is right there behind me, if you guys can read that. I don't talk about it all the time, but I think most of you probably recognize it based off of, well, what you see in the videos and all that kind of stuff. So today we've got a great one for you if you want to learn how to fish creature baits. Today we're going to go over that, and there's a lot of ways to do it. Man, some of these are very, very universal. Other ones not quite as much, but we're going to cover a lot here in a very short amount of time because I want to teach you as much as possible in as little as time as possible. We're going to be thorough though. If you're new to the channel, you like this kind of content, hit that subscribe button down there, join the community where we bring you all kinds of different fishing related videos. Let's talk about creature baits. They come in all kinds of shapes and sizes. You can use them for a multitude of things. Here we have the original Yamamoto Creature, which was really kind of a takeoff, combining several baits together, right? A tube, a brush hog style bait with the twisty arms, got the tube type tassels at the back here, or if you want to talk about their twin-tailed grub, or twin-tailed, what the heck do they call that? Spider jig. That could also be considered a creature to the Strike King Rage Bug with its kicking appendages. Comes in a multitude of sizes. The X-Zone. Adrenaline Craw is another good one for that type of thing. We have baits like the Yamamoto Yamacraw. Another one along those lines is the Strike King Rage Craw. And the list goes on and on and on. These are what I got out here so we can talk about them, talk about how to fish them and the many, many ways you can fish them. What I like them for, and that kind of thing. Okay, first we'll talk about this creature here. To me, at a time, I've done really, really well on these, but they seem somewhat inconsistent. And I'm not really sure why, but I found the best bite on these, for me, was on a Texas rig. Cast out, work it back out, drag it along bottom, stop it, pop it, shake it, various things to try and trigger a bite. Now, at times, that works really, really well. On the body of water, I think we went through probably 6-7 packs of these in one day on a body of water at one time, and I don't think I've caught a fish there since on that bait. Anyway, first, we're going to focus on one of these other ones just for the sake of simplicity. If I could only have one of these, tear down the amount of tackle I carry with me, that one bait is going to be the Rage Craw. Reason why is you can do so many different things with it, right? You can flip, pitch, cover, docks, pilings, laydowns. For that, I use this iRod Quercus. It's a 764. I believe it's called the Light Flip Wild Card Power Finesse Flipping, okay? Not a punch rod. This is more of your lighter version, Thule, stick-ups, wood, those kinds of things, okay? Not deep weeds and that kind of thing where you're punching. One of the biggest things is the hook. I'm going to pull this off here so you guys can see this. This is a straight shanked hook, right? Straight. EWG. Okay. I use both when I'm flipping and pitching. Call it short line applications. I really prefer a straight shanked hook. I also like to peg. You don't necessarily have to have it tight up against there. As a matter of fact, I like a little bit of freedom so that the bait can move more naturally instead of pegging it tight. Now, the reason I snell, and you're seeing this right now, is it pulls that hook up. Here, do it the right way. Up into the roof of the fish's mouth. 9 times out of 10, that's where they're hooked. The other thing it does is it keeps your weight from banging on the knot, because your knot is down here on the shank of the hook. I don't know if you can catch that, but it is. It's down here on the shank of the hook. If you don't know how to tie it, say something. We can always do a video on snelling. It's really easy once you've done it a few times. But with a straight shanked hook, I'm just gonna go through like normal, right? Slide her up there over the barbed keepers, and then we're just gonna slide that point in the bait. Okay, we want it to remain weedless. Trust me, when you set the hook on that baby, it is coming through. Okay, this is a short line application. Now, if we're doing something where we're casting and dragging a bait, such as a Texas rig, we need our EWG hook, and I just put that bait on there, and now I don't have it here. It's all right, we got a whole pack of them to go through. Now in this case, a lot of times I'm not gonna peg the weight, okay? I might even put a bead on it. That's really just personal preference, but we're gonna use an EWG. Most of the time, I'm gonna use a standard in this case, meaning not a superline hook. First thing you wanna do is measure up your hook to make sure that it fits the bait properly. You don't want a hook that's too big that's going to impede the action. On this Strike King Rage Bug, for instance, as long as you stay in this ribbed area, you're good to go. But you want it as far back as possible to get the hook point back for short strikers. So same thing, we're gonna slide it up in there to lock it in, measure her up, pop her through, and there you have a dragging type bait. Now, some guys flip this way. I did it in the past. I don't do it anymore. I prefer the straight shank, flipping and pitching, okay? Short distance fishing. This I use when I'm casting a distance and dragging. Maybe I'm out and I'm throwing up on a point. Maybe you're a bank fisherman and you're throwing out onto the point from the bank. This is the technique and hooking method I would use. Now, it's always a good rule of thumb to use as light a weight as possible. Now, I wouldn't really say that I drop down to an 1/8 ounce in most cases for this type of thing. My probably number one weight is a 1/4 ounce. Okay, 1/4 ounce. So just remember, if you're using tungsten, the old glass beads, they break. Okay, when you set the hook, that weight can slam into the glass bead and break it. So that's it. They make tungsten beads if you want to use them. If not, I have a bag right here of old brass weights. I also have some lead ones somewhere. And then I don't know if these are still made, but this is a screw-in weight, but it's got a rattle in it. I don't think you can hear it. But I've been known to snip this off if I don't want to peg it. Just feed my line through there and we're good to go. So then I got a rattle on there. A lot of different choices, okay? You can also, free rigging a creature bait is very, very popular. Okay, free rig. There's free rig videos on the channel if you want to see how to do that. Now, one of my favorite ways to fish the Rage Bug and many other creature baits, particularly creature baits that have kicking appendages, is on a swing head. And we're going to rig it the exact same way as the dragging bait. Okay, this hook's a little big for this bait, but we're gonna make her work for demonstration purposes. Okay, if you can see, that hook came down past those appendages. Not very far, just barely. Probably want one size smaller than that. These heads happen to come with a 5/0 hook from the factory when you get these. What I like about this one is it's got the split ring there, so I can swap out hooks. The great part about that is a lot of these swing heads come with a heavier wire hook. Now this isn't necessarily a heavy wire, not a super line, but it's heavier than a standard light wire like this one. Okay, so I could swap this out. Now the nice thing with that, when I'm throwing a lighter head, like this one happens to be a 3/8, if it's an application where I need to fish 10-pound test, no problem. I can get a lighter wire hook on there so it's still no problem hook penetrating the fish. Now most of the time when I'm fishing the swing head, I use this iRod 754, okay? 7'5" heavy. It's great because long cast, so the rod is gonna start taking up line very quickly, because that is a fast action rod, meaning the bend is less in the rod. Really putting the hook penetrating power straight to the fish when he bites and I set the hook on him, okay? Places to fish that swing head, and right now is prime time swing head. Post spawn, okay? Shouldn't say right now, because I don't know what it is in your area. But post spawn into summer is prime time swing head time. Now, places you want to look to fish the swing head is hard bottom. Points, hard bottom, something, you're sort of fishing it like a crankbait, except you have a jig profile. Now, a lot can argue that maybe it's a panfish profile. And depending on the colors you pick, maybe that's what they think it is. I'm not really quite sure. I just know how effective it is. One year on Clear Lake, I caught 48 fish over 8 pounds. 46 of them were on that swing head. Great colors available in it. And all of these techniques I'm talking about, that bait really shines. So the next one we have, if you didn't guess it or notice it on that rod I picked up a minute ago, is a Carolina rig, right? This is called the Carolina Keeper. Okay, just makes it very convenient because I can grab this with a pair of pliers, readjust the length, and my line's frayed right there from it. So you got to watch that. Always best to tie on a swivel, but you're going to use a 1/2 to 3/4 ounce weight. Then you got some line between it to your hook down here, and you'll see a mid-sized brush hog on there. That's another great creature bait for Carolina rigging. But that same Strike King Rage Bug, again, a very good Carolina rig bait. Okay, these appendages, all 4 appendages, these bottom ones and these 2 side ones, all kick really well. That's enticing to a bass. Good secondary action from the bait to entice those fish to bite. Carolina rigs, you're gonna look for the same kind of stuff that you would throw the swing head. A little different pace with the bait. More of a stop and go, if you will. Pull the bait, let it settle. Pull the bait, let it settle. Lots of great videos out there on Carolina rigging. I think I probably have one. But the swing head is a great way to fish that bait. Now, one of the other benefits of a bait like this, okay, not just this one, there's lots of them out there, right? Pretty much all of these baits I showed you have kicking appendages. Some of them a little different with the brush hog, right? It's more the twisty tails. Nonetheless, when you're reeling them, they are giving you an action. Those are kicking. So this is what I have learned to do because I've caught so many fish reeling the bait in. I don't burn it too fast. Or if I do, I will stop for a second. Just in case you have a fish trailing it, that bait stops, wham, he's gonna eat it or he's gonna run into it. Change of pace is a good way to trigger a strike. That bait really shines on any one of these techniques. Flipping, pitching, punching. We didn't even get into punching. Carolina rigging, the swing head, and the Texas rig. Just a standard Texas rig where you're fishing a point. A bait like that really, really shines. So if you could only have one creature type bait, I would really suggest that Rage Bug. Reason being is it suits all different kinds of fish. It suits all different sizes of fish. And this is just the regular size bug. I don't even know. Now they have so many different names. I'm not sure. Rage tail structure bug. That's all my package says. And honestly, I haven't bought any recently because I have so many. But the size of the bait is very appealing to a wide range of fish. I've caught plenty of 8-pounders on that standard size bait. When you pitch or flip it into something and it's falling, you get good kicking action out of it, right? Now, earlier I mentioned weight. Adjusting weight can be a key thing when you are trying to figure out a bite. Simple things like the rate of fall can be affected by the weight you choose. Some days the fish may want it falling slow, some days they may want it falling fast. What I've found is that it can be very lake dependent. I have one lake I fish that just seems like they like ½ ounce. Most others I've found that 1/4 ounce is very, very effective. Now remember, if you're flipping or pitching the cover, always peg your weight, okay? Get some bobber stops. I like the 6 cents bobber stops. They work really well. Bobber stops are, in the fishing world, they're cheap, don't cost much. Put those on the line above your weight so your weight can't slide up and down the line. But don't put it too tight. I like to leave 1/4 to ½ inch gap there between your weight and the bait, just so it has some freedom of movement. It's very much like a swing head, right? You want it to be able to move. Whereas if you peg it too tight, you're going to stiffen that connection up. And then you might run into some problems of the fish getting the weight in the mouth. When you set the hook, you're blowing the mouth open and you're not getting a hook in them. Another reason for snelling the hook when you're in close quarters. All right, let's talk about some other places we can use these creature baits. Number 1 is going to be as a jig trailer. Okay, this one here happens to be a Rage Craw from Strike King, but you could very easily use the Rage Bug. You could use the Yama Craw. You could use the Adrenaline Craw. Yes, you can even use a brush hog. For years and years, we used brush hogs as trailers on jigs. The creature bait here is the one that I wouldn't go to for a trailer just because of its bulk. And this is much more of a single-use bait to me, which is Texas rig dragging or Carolina rig. Now, some other places you can use them. Chatterbait trailer, swim jig trailer. You can even fish them on a buzz bait. Yeah, buzz bait. I would use a bait that has a flatter side if I was going to do it on a buzz bait. Now on a chatterbait, you can turn it either way, depending on what you want to mimic with that bait. If you want to mimic a bluegill, stand it up and thread it this way. In that application, I'm going to pull off these side appendages. If you're going for the crawdad, just put it on there flat. Now these do come in various sizes, so you can go to bigger or smaller. This one generally is a good trailer size for a swim jig. I just saw one here. There we go. Okay. For a chatterbait, those kinds of things, this generally gets the job done. Now spinnerbait, I don't really like to use this. I would generally go towards a swim bait like a Kitech if I want a trailer, or a curl-tail grub. Look guys, this is one thing I'll say. Don't get caught up in the freaking, unless you're a tackle junkie like I am, you don't need all this different stuff. And there's more. There's more. This is just what I grabbed for demonstration purposes and trying to keep myself on track. But that creature bait be a perfect trailer for this jig. And it allows you to buy fewer baits, cover a multitude of uses, and be very, very successful with it. Now, for those of you guys that are Fat Pack Baits fans, I do know they have a structure bug style bait also. And according to the website, the claws up here are floating. I'll be getting some soon. I'll do a review on them, all that kind of stuff. If it's anything else from Fat Pack Baits, it's going to be good. I mean, everything else has been good. All right, if you guys got any questions, drop them down in the comments. If you're still here, I hope you're subscribed. I'm Sean, the Average Angler. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.